This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. As grocers defiantly refuse to change prices, the government says it won't accept a violation of the law and is adamant that price control changes are in effect. The government to meet with the Pharmacy Association today as the opposition calling on the Prime Minister to step in to fix the price control mess. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of the new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. Welcome back. Welcome to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll get a preview of the one-day leadership symposium that's set for tomorrow with the Public Managers Union. Get details about that. And later in Morning Blend Business, we're talking with Arawak X. They've got a number of exciting new things happening. They'll tell us all about it. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, after pharmacists across the country closed their doors yesterday in objection to the government's decision to enforce the reduction of the profit margin on price-controlled drugs, the two sides agreed to meet today. Minister of Economic Affairs Michael Halkett is confirming that, but he's stressing that the Davis administration will not tolerate these business people violating the law, which is in effect. NASA Guardian stands that the government agreed to a meeting with the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association on the condition that pharmacies reopen. Pharmacies are expected to reopen today. Some did reopen yesterday. Halkett said yesterday the closure of the pharmacies was, quote, totally unexpected and without notice. He says the government is not resigning from its position, though. He says people have not implemented it completely. People who have not implemented it completely, they're prepared to work with them, but they're not prepared to have a blatant disregard for the law in the country. Meanwhile, grocers have refused to reflect price changes in line with the new price control regulations, the enforcement of which went into effect yesterday. The attorney representing the Retail Grocers Association, John Bostwick, saying last night the position remains the same as it was the day before, and that there are still no changes to the prices at the stores. He said, referencing the Davis administration, quote, as far as we are concerned, the consultative process is ongoing, and we are waiting to hear back from them. Prime Minister Philip Davis and others in its administration met with the Grocers Association on October 17th to discuss the grocers' concerns about price control changes that Davis announced without consultation in a national address on October 11th. Subsequent to that meeting, Economic Affairs Minister Halkitis told reporters the grocers were asked to come back to the government with changes they could live with, but before the government received the proposal from the association, it announced that enforcement of price control would start on November 1st. Back to the pharmacies, Health and Wellness Minister Michael Darville saying that he was disappointed that pharmacies across the country temporarily closed their doors. He said he was, quote, a bit shocked because the discussion started. I brought in the wholesalers, the retailers, and the association to have a candid discussion about where we are heading and why the Minister of Economic Affairs did what he had to do. Consultation started. I understand that a counter-proposal was given. It came to the minister, I think, a few days ago, and we felt that once something like that comes in, you should give the government time to review it, but it is what it is. Well, after receiving no response from the government over its proposal to change to the price control, to the changes to the price control list, the association advised its members across the country to temporarily close their doors yesterday. And F&M leader Michael Pintard calling on Prime Minister Davis to intervene to resolve the debacle affecting the pharmacies, private pharmacies and grocers. He said the Prime Minister must step in to fix the mess he created himself. In other news, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says that police have expressed concern that the director of the Department of Public Prosecutions is not aggressively appealing fines for bail offenders that see them released back on the streets. He says police investigators have felt disrespected when serious cases are not prosecuted by senior attorneys in the department. But defendants engage experienced lawyers. Monroe says he's asked Minister of State for Legal Affairs, Jomo Campbell, to organize a meeting with himself, the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Garvin Gaskin, to go over those concerns. He says they're not satisfied with his management of the office, and they're going to have a conversation with him over it. Overseas, former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appearing to edge toward election victory today with nearly two-thirds of ballots showing that he and his ultra-nationalist and religious allies are poised to achieve a stable majority in the country's parliament. Votes are still being counted and results not still final, but if preliminary indications are correct, Israel was likely headed to one of the most right-wing governments, bolstered by a strong showing from the ultranationalist religious Zionism party, whose members use inflammatory anti-Arab and anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. The initial results pointed to a continued rightward shift in the Israeli electorate, further dimming hopes for peace with the Palestinians and setting the stage for possible conflict with the Biden administration of the United States and Israel's supporters in that country. Tuesday's election was Israel's fifth in less than 4 years, with all of them focused largely on Netanyahu's fitness to govern. On trial for a slew of corruption charges, Netanyahu is seen by supporters as the victim of a witch hunt and vilified by opponents as a crook and threat to democracy. Election officials working through the night tallying votes, and by early today, some 62% of the ballots had been counted. The vote, like past elections, was tight, but indications show that Netanyahu was headed back to premiership with a firm majority in Israel's 120-seat parliament. Sports, with the 50th staging of the Carifta Games, about 150 days out. The first meaningful step in the event, returning to the Bahamas, took place with the introduction of a title sponsor. This happened yesterday since opening its doors for business. Oak Tree Medical Center, under the ownership of the husband and wife team of Dr. Don and Christy DeVoe. Huge proponents of sports and the development of youth in the country. Now they're coming on board as the title sponsor of the 50th Carifta Games, set for the Easter holiday weekend April 8th through 10th, right here in Nassau at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. The Junior Regional Championships, which will coincide with the country's 50th anniversary of independence and the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, is the most celebrated and festive annual sports event in the region. As a title sponsor, Oak Tree Medical donating $300,000 toward the operational cost of the event. According to the Bahamian president of the North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association, Mike Sands, he says as far as he remembers, it is the most significant contribution by a medical institution toward the staging of the Carifta Games in the 49-year history of the event. It is also a tenth of the $3 million total budget for athletics for the 2022-2023 season, inclusive of capital works and infrastructure. Read more on it in today's Guardian Sports section. From Major League Baseball, Bryce Harper bashing a home run on the first World Series pitch he saw in Philadelphia, and then figured out how the Phillies could hit a few more. The $330 million star offered quiet advice to Alec Boehm, and then it got really loud in Philadelphia as the Phillies beat the Houston Astros last night. They are now just 2 wins away from their first World Series championship since 2008. The series is now at 2-1 for the Phillies after beating the Astros 7-0 last night. Game 4 set for tonight. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a high-pressure system that will maintain mostly stable conditions while supporting moderate to fresh winds across the area today. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along East Coast beaches. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with a slight chance of a few passing showers, turning mostly fair and mild tonight. Smoke-craft caution remains in effect for boaters in the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds easterly at 10 to 15 knots in the northwestern islands, increasing up to 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwestern islands, but building up to 4 to 7 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. Seas slightly higher in northeasterly swells along Atlantic exposures. 79 degrees right now under fair skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. 422-GR96. Remember, standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Coming up this morning, in our 8 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with the Public Managers Union about leadership symposium they have for tomorrow, one-day leadership symposium. We'll talk about that and why that's important. And then later, Arawak X will be joining us in Morning Blend Business to talk about a number of exciting things they have going on. Always a lot of exciting things going on with Arawak X. We'll get the details this morning. But let's begin with what's in the news. And in the news, a big story, everybody's still talking about it, of course, what's happening with the pharmacies in the country. Will they be open today? What is the latest? Where do things stand with the meeting they were seeking with the government? We'll get to that in just a bit. And what the grocers are saying, all of that. But this little story here just has left me a little... just want to quickly read this. Not sure if I'm reading it right, but our Warren McCarthy writing about this. Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe saying police have expressed concern that the director of the Department of Public Prosecutions is not aggressively appealing fines for bail offenders that see them released back on the streets. Okay? Mm-hmm. He also said police investigators have felt disrespected when serious cases are not prosecuted by senior attorneys in the department, but the defendants engage experienced lawyers. Mm-hmm. We've all wondered about that, yes. Monroe says he's asked Minister of State for Legal Affairs, Jomo Campbell, to organize a meeting with himself, the Commissioner of Police, and Director of Public Prosecutions, Garvin Gaskin, to go over those concerns. Now, this is the part. Monroe says, quote, "We are not satisfied with his management of the office and what we are seeing. And we're going to have a conversation with him over it. He said if the meeting could be set up within the course of this week, that would not be soon enough for me. That's a quote. If it could be set up within the course of the week, that wouldn't be soon enough for me. He said, quote, police are not pleased, for instance, that you could have a case for murder that is being defended by two Queen's Counsel and a number of junior lawyers, and he would not be doing it personally. He would not be doing it personally. And people at a higher level would not be doing it. That's regarded by the officers who work the case as being disrespectful to their work, and there is something to be said for that. Monroe says there's also an issue with, quote, persons being admitted for bail for armed robbery, murder, being ordered to be electronically monitored, breaching the terms of their bail insofar as that is concerned, this is a quote, going back to court, being fined, in many cases not remanded. The issue there is that the courts respond to what is happening. The DPP is independently in charge of those prosecutorial systems. I have not been advised that there have been any appeals of those decisions onward to the Court of Appeal. That is troubling to me as a practitioner who's been in practice for 3 decades, as you would have a conversation around it. I've asked Minister Campbell to arrange a meeting as soon as possible. It's a problem that we have put together an entire unit, an electronic monitoring unit, headed by, I think it's either a superintendent or an assistant superintendent. That is manpower directed towards the purposes that we monitor people, and we need to have value and results for our efforts. I'm not satisfied that that's happening. Monroe says his job as minister is not to do the police force's job, but to, quote, respond to the police when they have issues that arise. And they put it to me, and I respond to that. Over the past few months, police have arrested dozens of people for alleged violation of bail conditions. Many of those people have been given a fine or have been released again pending a trial for that offense after pleading not guilty. Okay, so all those things are, many of us have expressed concern about those things on the show and other shows everywhere, in the public, over and over and over. But when do we do that, though? When do we get up and say we don't like the job that somebody's doing in the public? Is this where we're heading? This is what we're going to do now? Because they could just have the meeting and fix it, although that could be seen as influence. But anyway, they could just have the meeting and deal with it, right? Why are you saying that publicly and putting it on the one person? And this isn't new. It's been happening before he became the director of public prosecutions, right? Am I dreaming? What's going on? I need someone to explain that to me. Again, these issues that he's raising, Minister Monroe, yeah, we all have been wondering about that. But I feel somebody's being attacked. They are the official scapegoat for the mess that is the judicial system in the country. Am I off this morning? What's going on? I really need a vacation, so it could be that. But explain it to me, somebody. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. If you're in the public service, are you next? Are they going to say, we blame you because we don't like how you handle your department, and you're the reason people have to wait in line for 5 hours for this thing, or it takes 10 years to get your passport. We think your management of the department is horrible, and we're going to have a meeting with you to tell you how lousy you are, as I tell the press right now. What's going on? Anyway, caller, what say you on this?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Right, morning.
Hi.
What is going on in the Attorney General's office? That ain't just start going on up there. I worked out there last time on the police force, 2001, just after September 11th, right? 2001 to 2006. And when I sued before in the Supreme Court, I used to be in the Attorney General's office to see what happened. Those prosecutors, those murder cases, those serious cases, they send a little junior prosecutor and let the Gavin Gaskin them now. He's in charge. He's supposed to go down in the court to fight against a case, you know, used to be Queen Counsel. They set up there and send a junior prosecutor. I used to be mad all the time because when you look to some of those vesting in prosecutors, they come down, look me in the face and said, "Oh, the police did investigate." I said, "Man, stop your foolishness." I speak up to them. I said, "Stop your foolishness. The police investigate." Right? Or when the police go on the scene, the police supposed to call them. I said, "This is not like in the States, man. You're supposed to go and prosecute the bloody case." I talked to them back. And what I'm saying, what me and Manano was happening when he was there too. That was happening from decades and decades ago. Mm-hmm. That's why all these criminals is be back on the street.
Totally agree.
They don't do their work in the Attorney General office. They send the most junior. Anytime they want somebody to get bail, they send the most junior one to just get a job in the Attorney General office last week. They send them down.
Yeah, we recognize that. But should the, as you're saying, it's been happening for a long time. Should the DPP be called out like
yes,
this?
He should call him, because
so?
he should get it. He should get his you know what, down in the court.
Okay.
Because if you have a junior prosecutor, they're afraid to go to court against those fierce tough lawyers. You understand?
Okay. All right.
And when I used to be up there, Ducil used to be in the tune. I used to set up case with Mr. Ducil and all, man. Back in there. Ducil was a prosecutor and all that. They have to do better.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Interesting. Somebody else saying, I agree with this move. Are we not held to account for our departments? Why should government be different? Okay, all right. This one says, though, Gaskin has become the official scapegoat. These issues with bail and poor performance by prosecutors existed for decades. Another one here. Happy Wednesday, Dwight. Where did it go? Is not the DPP an independent entity? Can we say a blatant example of political interference to the nth degree, sir? It's very strange. If you want to have a meeting, have the meeting, and hopefully things will be corrected. But I don't know if you. I think it just seems odd. It just seems odd to go out there and put this out there publicly. It's a little bizarre to me. This person says our whole judicial system needs to be revamped. Well, perhaps. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. I hope you had something hard on your chest. Dwight Strachan, you know something? The double standard in this country, that gentleman who just called is a prime example. And I can tell you why I say that. And with respect to the gentleman, he was a police officer, I assume, right? He now, I assume, is retired. Right, Dwight?
I think he's a prosecutor.
A prosecutor. Okay, well, that's even better for me to explain to try to give some clarification on what I want to say. Okay, he was there for many years, right, Dwight? And now I assume he's retired. So he could call your talk show and say what this one called and this one and say what this one used to do, but never spoke out as him being the prosecutor. You see, Dwight, you know what I realized in this country, and I want you to take focus of this, and I want a lot of Bahamians to take focus of this. The minute time some of these people who work in these government departments, especially the key departments like the police force, the defense force, the prisons and stuff like that, when they retire or they get dismissed from their jobs, then you hear them talk about how the government department was running while they were there and things that they didn't agree with.
But that's their job. You can't talk out. You're going right. You can't do that. If you do that, you will likely be dismissed. You'll be fired. You'll be worse. Who knows? So
Dwight, what sense does it make me coming to the Guardian to work and seeing Dwight Strachan doing something wrong, and because I get retirement or I get fired from the Guardian, I decide to speak out? Does that make any? That's double standard, my brother.
I don't know if it's double standard. You got to look out for your interest, your bottom line, your wallet. And when you can speak out, you speak out when you feel comfortable enough, at least.
Okay, so the comfortable enough for me to speak out, as if I've been in a government sector for like 20, 30 years and I see all the wrong.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I must only speak out when I retire.
I'm not saying that. I mean, but some people can and some people can't, right? But the things that he said were things that we all have known. We see that. So
we all know, but
what he was saying is that it's not, you're blaming the one now when this was going on for many, many decades.
But you know what is the funniest thing before I go, Dwight, is that people who work in these government sectors, they only speak out when they retire, like I say, or they get dismissed. All right, we all know many years and years and years this been going on in the prosecution or whatever office.
All right,
we know
so
that.
you know very well, Dwight. You know that if you speak out, you will be blacklisted by the party that is in charge now, and you might get a job. You might get a job when the other party gets in. You might, unless they say you're a loose cannon. And so that's why people don't do it.
That's the precinct, all right? Sorry to say like that we said in this country. And that precinct is not a good precinct for those who are coming up in the country, because, Dwight Strachan, I can leave you with this. If you work in a government sector, and especially a key position in this country, you should go there with integrity. You should go there with your hands clean. If someone wrong, if Dwight wrong, or if Dwight wrong, we wrong. Don't wait until you retire or you get mad because the government changed. You decide to speak out now. Why you ain't speak out then? Have a good day, brother.
Okay. All right. Well.
Wait, that whole conversation was about the caller?
Kind of.
Oh.
Welcome, Chester Robar. It's great to have you with us. It sounds like more scapegoating there. But, okay, all right, I hear you. We all know why that happens like that. People have mortgages, bills, taxes to pay, and they need their job. And if they feel they're going to be persecuted as a result of speaking out, and there's no whistleblower protection or whatever, you try to fix things from within, and if you can't, this
ain't like the U.S.
Yeah.
Where if you are fired for speaking out, you're taking that company straight to court, and you're likely going to win.
Yeah, you're going to do very well.
Yeah.
Here. Whatever you get, you need to move out of the country.
Dog eat your lunch, yeah.
Okay, just a few more on this before we get to the other news of the day, but just wanted to get your reaction to it. I just think it's odd. But it might be me. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, morning.
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Strachan. Morning to your guest as well.
Morning.
Very interesting topic. I wanted to say, before I get into the topic, I wanted to say that, the gentleman before me, he is a TLP bootlicker. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I support the TLP in this circumstance. Why? Because I think it's best for our democracy and civility, and also civil rights for people. I think that it should be discussed in terms of the director of prosecution being an independent office. I think they should have a discussion. You see it all over the world with the AG and the police commissioners in America when they had so much turmoil. I don't see anything wrong with this. I think it's best that we try to just allow it to be. Just let them do their
Like
job.
I said, there's nothing wrong. But I don't know if I would come publicly.
Only thing I think is wrong with this, unless it has, but it's always going to be a political thing. Seeing that the other form of government established this department and made it independent, it's going to be a political thing. But I think that this is part of the growing pains, and I think that it's a wonderful thing now that we have an independent person in that position, and let it go as I think it's a good thing.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. But like I said, that's not the issue. The issue is whether you would get up and say this as a minister about the person you have a problem with, the way he's doing his job, and it is an independent body, right? We're going to meet with him because we don't like the way he's doing his job. And you say that to the press? Like, we could call you and say, hey, what the heck are you doing down there? We need to talk. And you could take my advice or not.
Right.
But am I going to say, I'm going to meet with you because I don't like the way you're doing your job, because we got to make him do better?
Before you meet with him.
Before you meet with him. And say, all of us have a problem with him.
That's
very strange.
Very strange.
Very strange. And yeah, we all can agree that there are tons of issues. We scratch our heads daily, right? The children, basically, who are representing the Attorney General's office in cases compared to the big giant KCs older than the king, and we're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have issues, but the public. Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right. So I want to take you back, and I won't take too much of your time. A few years ago, I think the Attorney General was Michael Barnett, and the Commissioner of Police at the time called out, I think it was Greenslade, called out Michael Barnett. And that was one of the outrageous one of the more outrageous things I've seen in any country, where you have the person, the commissioner calling out Michael Barnett. But these people who call out these officials, what they don't realize, how they erode the whole process of justice. And I'll give you an example. And I know these people, the persons in public prosecution, I mean, it probably mine gut-wrenching when these people are asking those persons to hold people to do whatever they want to do in regards to people who have been accused of a crime. And they don't realize that in order to do these things, it first begins with policing and bringing evidence. In my view, when you look at the overview of most of these cases, there isn't even sufficient evidence for most of these people to even be charged. And then, because we have a state in our country where most of these statements that are being made by these persons are emotionally charged, like disrespected, and not looking at the criminology, when we should be hiring more commissioners, in my view, that are criminologists, not just who came up through the ranks and have been indoctrinated through the ranks, but they have to understand that these professions are more logical and professionally driven, and we need more criminologists and empirical data to be able to sustain conviction. Now, once we aren't having that, we are having more people that are demanding, and in most cases, asking for this, I guess, satanic martial law where you hold people, and in most cases, the prosecutors have very little to work with, very little evidence to be able to sustain convictions on the rate that we believe. And now you have the police using, I guess it's some emotional, I don't know where they pull these things from, and they making these statements, right, that is creating this divide, that is doing absolutely nothing to deter, stop crime. Because in my view, we don't have criminologists. What we have are people who do, 3 months and 6 months, and see in the college on Thompson Boulevard, and then feel and work in the police force their whole life, and then have the audacity to speak to the legal jurisprudence process of the Commonwealth of Bahamas with no clue as to how these things and convictions are sustained. And as a result, we continue to have these statements from these people that know absolutely nothing about law and the application of the legal process.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I feel like we just had a lecture by a law professor, but thank you. Appreciate that. I hear you. You look like you're about to say something.
I might have missed it, and I didn't see the story yet. But he said that the DPP should be handling some of these cases.
They're not satisfied with his management of the department.
But somewhere in there, I was saying that he should be the one going down to some of these to prosecute some of these cases.
Yep.
Can you imagine how much cases he'd have to do?
Well, there's a whole bunch of KCs. So, yeah, he said, quote, "We are not satisfied with his management of the office and what we are seeing. And we're going to have a conversation with him over it." We police are not pleased, for instance, that you could have a case for murder that is being defended by 2 Queens Counsel and a number of junior lawyers, and he would not be doing it personally. And the he, we assume, is
right, the
DPP. And people at a higher level would not be doing it.
Are there other people at a higher level?
Probably. Okay. Well, they probably left to start their own law firms or join one of the big ones.
Right.
And they'll probably say it's because that's all the money we have to pay these folks.
That's probably it, too.
We can only afford the kids just out of law school.
So what's the suggestion? That
I don't know. What you going to do, minister?
Sending people to go topple these
to bully
cases?
people. To go topple them. What you going to do? Clearly, they're going to say we don't have the money to pay for more experienced lawyers.
Right.
So all we have is kids and or police prosecutors.
And God help you if you get one of them. Let me tell you. That's my
charged.
experience.
Unless you're charged,
that's my experience.
Then the Lord is on your side. It seems.
That's true.
But yeah. So okay, unusual stuff. A couple more calls. We got to move on then. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
And Chester.
Good morning.
Yeah, Dwight. To this guy, the call out to Dwight, right? Have you ever heard about whistleblowing or the word whistleblowing or victimization, right? If we could implement things like whistleblowing, right, then a lot of these things possibly could have been revealed. Some things could have been revealed, right? And when it comes to our system of governance, right, it's by appointment, right? Everybody, people, these you have a lot of persons sitting in these very important positions, but they're by appointment. So this is why you could find persons making statements out in the public like that, because the public really have no jurisdiction on whether they stay or go. And if we could probably try to correct up that system, because I believe from the Attorney General, all of them should have been elected persons so that the government, so that they have more control on what they have to do to run their departments. But unfortunately, the Bahamas, we don't work like that. Victimization is very prevalent, right? And you have to be careful because it's just that type of nasty atmosphere, right? So I don't agree with the statement being made. But before I go, Dwight, please don't let the minister responsible for economic development to get away with the statement what he made when he said they are not going to tolerate nobody breaking the law, right?
We're going to get to that in a second. Yeah.
Yes, please, because we have all type of different instances where people them openly breaking the law and they are tolerating it. You guys have a nice day.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much.
Even them might be breaking the law.
The
government, that is.
Yeah, I know. Even them. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Chester.
Hi. Good morning.
I just had to opine on this conversation this morning. I find it quite interesting. First and foremost, it's the perception that is being painted out here. Is Mr. Joey Gaskins now the person who is going to be persecuted for the current way our systems have been running?
Garvin Gaskins. Garvin
Gaskins, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Because here it is. I believe, my personal belief is, it is our system that we have to look at. So far, the Whistleblower Act that has been spoken to for over the past decade, or close to a decade, has not been enacted. There's no real protection for anybody here who knows what's going on inside the system, would like to have spoken to it, but we know how victimization goes in this country. The second you open your mouth, either they victimize you by you losing your job, they victimize you as you're on the job, or even when you left the job, they find somebody to victimize you by taxing your finances or so on and so forth. So that is a very real reality that we all have to face here. I'll close on this one point here. I believe our entire system, if the Minister of National Security is really serious, I don't think he should just start and stop with the Department of Public Prosecution. I believe he needs to go throughout the entire system, including the judiciary, because there are many problems there. There are many problems with the prosecutors. There are many problems with the police officers in gathering information and gathering data and stuff. There's a whole myriad of things that needs to be addressed.
Well,
so just to single out this one person, I think is perhaps, with all intents, and I give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe a starting point. But I don't believe that should be the focal point, and I don't believe it should be the end point. Go all the way with this, and let's find some resolution to our problems. Thank you for taking my call.
All right. Well, there's no coincidence that the person that's been singled out is the one person they haven't appointed. So let's not play like we don't know what's going on here. But sure, again, the issues are real, and we all wonder about it all the time. But to blame it on one person, and the judges don't have to agree to the bail or the magistrate, or I guess judges, yeah. So it's not just on them, but But yeah, these are issues. I'm just saying, it's very bizarre to speak about it publicly like that. I think that's a weird thing. Now, you've put that in people's heads that it's all on the one man there. And that's why all these murderers are out on bail and causing trouble throughout the streets, because that office is run badly. Meanwhile, the National Security Minister is defending the work of people engaged by his ministry to assist in the nation's crime fight. This is in the Tribune today. Those crime consultants that they hired, and people saying, what are they saying about stuff? I don't know why you'd waste your breath to ask what they're saying about stuff, because who thought anything was coming out of it in the first place? But anyway, so Monroe defending this on Monday. Former Prime Minister Dr. Berminnis accused the Davis administration of not having a workable plan to deal with the nation's rising crime, and also took issue with those hired by the ministry to assist with violence interruption. As you recall, at least one talk show host was hired and a pastor. Dr. Menace said that these people were receiving the people's money but not producing the desired results. Well, Minister Monroe called the former Prime Minister to stop playing politics and also explained that their roles in the ministry were being done, that they're being done effectively. They're I guess, doing their jobs. He says, quote, firstly, there is one consultant by the Ministry of National Security. That's Dr. Carlos Reed. Dr. Carlos Reed is concerned with running programs that intervene with fellows on the streets, and he does that. And if you have any idea about how it works, you don't go around and put cameras on people you're talking to. That is what he does. There is an independent contractor, Mr. Monker, engaged by the Ministry of National Security purely for community engagement, and he engages with the community far and wide. There are programs run by the Royal Bahamas Defense National Youth Service Office and that engage over 1,000 young people in positive behavior. We've had to step it down from intervention at high schools to interventions at primary school. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has re-engaged urban renewal. All of these programs the previous Prime Minister stopped. Wow. And Monroe said he was tired of hearing from Dr. Minnis, whom he claimed lacked understanding behind the root problems of crime, and added that if he did, he would not have ended many of the social programs targeted towards youth that were previously in place. Wow, okay. So some text messages as we go to the break. This person says here, lots of messages about our callers. Okay, if it were Mr. Gaskin, I would not even go to the meeting. The DPP office is an independent entity. This is downright a political move to him. Remember that as soon as the PLP came into power, they had Gaskin on leave and appointed Franklin Williams as acting DPP. Jokey leaders. Another one here. The caller who is talking about the police need a criminologist is absolutely insane or unreasonable. Every police officer will never be a criminologist. Rich country in this world have criminologists to study every case that goes to court. He needs to find the next squad of recruits to be a criminologist at the police college. Okay. Well. And another one here. Wayne Monroe and this administration and this lost administration are looking for a scapegoat for the failed efforts against crime. Another one here. We must never forget we had a top lawyer from the Caribbean who was director in Jamaica and Bermuda become a director of public prosecutions in the Bahamas. She swiftly left us after saying our police do a sloppy job with gathering evidence and charging the right criminals. We must never forget what she said. You remember that, Chester? I do remember that. Yeah.
Perfectly remember that, yeah.
And this one says here, you want to meet with me? You are my present boss. 4 years from now, you will be arguing a case against me in court. This is totally wrong, but here we go again. And this one says, please tell the minister to sit small when his firm is responsible for getting these criminals. Okay. Well, yeah. Sure. Anyway, we'll leave that there. We'll pick this up. Pick up more of what else is making news on this Wednesday morning. After the break, this is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Coronavirus update. I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. An area around an iPhone factory in China has been closed after virus cases ramped up. The AP's Charles de Ledesma has this.
Access to an industrial zone in the central Chinese city of Jiangsu has been suspended after the city reported 64 coronavirus cases, and workers who assemble iPhones left their factory in the zone following outbreaks. The announcement did not say if the isolation of the Jiangsu Airport Economic Zone was related to cases at the Foxconn iPhone factory. It said no one can enter or leave for 1 week except to deliver food and medical supplies. The ruling Communist Party is enforcing a zero COVID policy that's closed areas throughout the country to try to isolate every case. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Last week, more than 1 million residents of a downtown Shanghai district were ordered to stay home while they were tested. I'm Rita Foley.
7:46, time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. In your real-time traffic at this hour. As usual, we're seeing the heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway from Fire Trail all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. That's in northbound lanes there. Glass Road also busy for you from Fire Trail up to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, we're seeing heavy traffic on Blue Hill Road, just north of Carmichael, especially north of Soldier Road on the way to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Building traffic on Independence westbound to the roundabout with Blue Hill. And Eastern Road busy for you at this hour, just east of Fox Hill. You'll see that traffic in the westbound lanes. Actually, it's almost all the way down to San Souci. And it's busy up to Johnson Road. Remember the work that continues on Shirley and Village. And single lane traffic there, and it's going to cause more delays throughout the day. Seeing some building traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. And on JFK Drive, we are seeing some heavy traffic just west of Lake Cunningham on the way to the roundabout with Westridge. Not sure what's happening there, but keep that in mind if you're heading westbound this hour. Heavy traffic there might be an incident. We'll keep you posted on that. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic. And time for another check of your weather for today. We've got high pressure that will maintain mostly stable conditions while supporting moderate to fresh winds across the area. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along East Coast beaches. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, warm, and a bit breezy conditions with a slight chance of a few passing showers, turning mostly fair and mild tonight. Small craft caution in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a weak cold front expected to push through the northwest Bahamas on Thursday with high pressure building in its wake. Elsewhere, a tropical wave expected to enter the southeast Bahamas by Friday evening and increase rain chances across that area. So for Thursday, tomorrow, partly sunny and a bit breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers. Friday, variably cloudy, warm, and breezy with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. It's not too early to remind you that we fall back this weekend. Daylight saving time ends on Sunday at 2. We return to standard time at that time. We'll have your tropical outlook coming up in our 8 o'clock weather check after the news. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Fidelity, we're good for you. I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
When one says Rust-Oleum, one thinks Bahamian Paint. Bahamian Paint carries over 150 different Rust-Oleum spray products. I'm talking products like Rust-Oleum's textured finishes, you know, the leather effect, the antique look, or the hammered finish. Now we're talking about Rust-Oleum's tub and tile paint, chalkboard paint, and the dry erase board and a can paint. The inverted sprays used to mark sports fields, parking spaces, or foundations. And of course, the granddaddy of Rust-Oleum's rust-fighting family, Rust-Oleum's 9100 heavy-duty anti-corrosion coating that gives metal unmatched protection against the elements. That's why when one says Rust-Oleum, one thinks of Bahamian Paint. Harold Road and Mackey Street. Right now, get 20% off all cash sales through December 24th.
Link up with BTC. Did you get the speed bump? All BTC subscribers with a bundled fiber connection receive the speed increase. Totally free and totally automatic. It's just another way of ensuring that we are delivering best value to our customers, keeping them on the leading edge of everything awesome. Link up with BTC to get your speed bump today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com to learn more.
Do you want a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha Kryptonite scooters? Do you like the great taste of Frito-Lay chips? Well, all you have to do is purchase chips like Lay's, Doritos, and Cheetos at your favorite grocery store, and you can enter to win thanks to Frito-Lay and Island Wholesale Scooter Giveaway Promotion. Want to know more? Join us at Extra Value Nassau Village November 5th, this Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. for a chance to play Island Wholesale Shoot and Win game for instant prizes and a chance to win one of 5 Yamaha scooters. Frito-Lay, distributed by Island Wholesale.
Fidelity, we're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
It's that o'clock, yeah, it's thick 30. I've been through a lot, but I'm still flirty. Is everybody back up in the...
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Is that caller still there? Yeah, let's take this call and then we'll get to the pharmacist situation. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Yeah, that's me calling back. See, one thing, see, you're always wondering whether I was a prosecutor. I would call about the court, right? I was a sergeant out there.
Okay.
The last one, I was a sergeant out there from 2001, just after the week after September 11th, until November of 2006 when I retired, right? And I fully retired after 35 years in the force. And I saw it all out there. What I'm trying to say, the way try to make everything political. You never hear me saying, I say it was happening out there for decades and decades. But nothing, I didn't even mention no politics. But every time I come on, he seems to try to say, oh, I try to make everything political. No. What I'm trying to say, Dwight, if you get passed out as a lawyer, graduate as a lawyer, Supreme Court, when they have those big celebrations, so much lawyers graduate the whole Supreme Court, well, can't find no space in there, right, when they have the graduation. The next week or a couple of weeks, you're supposed to come down in the appeal court, represent somebody on appeal, or come down in a serious case in the Supreme Court. You should come down with a seasoned lawyer out of the Attorney General office. I think seasoned prosecutor. That's all I'm saying. When you have somebody, a veteran lawyer like Muriel Ducil and all those lawyers way back in, what I'm talking about. You can't stand up against them because you don't have the experience. You pass out as a lawyer, but you still need to gain more experience over the years. And to gain that experience, most of the time you need to work along with another senior lawyer. So if Gavin Gaskin, he's the beauty when I was out there, all those judges, the majority of those judges out there now were prosecutors when I was out there.
Yeah.
They all like Bernard Turner, Cheryl Grant Bettel, Sandra D. Gardner, the other guys, the family was like West Indian.
Many of them.
Yeah, all those. What I'm saying is it's like that.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though, right? They don't have people. Either they do go on to be magistrates and lawyers, or they go to big firms or start their own firms.
Yes. What I'm saying, but that is when they already get the experience. Because you ain't going to put you as no judge. You Bernard Turner, when I leave out there, Bernard Turner was in charge of the Attorney General office. I remember one time I walked down there. I already called his name, but I ain't call his name again. Right? I used to know every slickness those lawyers do, those defense lawyers. One time this lawyer, a guy charged with 2 serious murders. Listen now. And you had this Jamaican judge, he's do civil cases. But the defense lawyer, guess what? He was in the West Indies too. So you should know what I'm talking about. I ain't calling no name. So guess what now? They thought they could outsmart me. Listen, they go on before that West Indian judge, right? In the civil court. A judge who's doing civil cases don't suppose there be no criminal cases. And then listen, the fella come down. And he's charged with 2 murders. Guess what? They put 1 murder on the charge sheet and kept before that judge. And within less than 5 minutes, that guy got bailed for 2 murders. And I know what I did. I was so mad. I walked from the Supreme Court to the Attorney General office. And when I reached up there, Mr. Bernard Turner had the files on it. I said, Carol, I know you was coming. Because you are on top of things. I said, well, Mr. Turner, fix it. Because how the defense force, a defense lawyer could tell the civil judge that this man has 1 murder and know he has 2 murders.
Yeah. All right, we got interesting stories. We've got to go to the news. Thank you so much. Well, we know the system needs work. We know that, but we got to break for the news. We'll be back. Stay with us.
a woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciennes, trying to bring out the fabulous. Cause I give a fuck.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a high-pressure system that will maintain mostly stable conditions while supporting moderate to fresh breezes across the area. Beachgoers should exercise caution, though, due to the risk of rip currents along East Coast beaches. For all areas today, look for partly mostly sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with a slight chance of a few passing showers, turning mostly fair and mild tonight. Small craft caution in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. Yes, 90 Fahrenheit for your highs in November. In your extended outlook, a weak cold front is expected to move through the northwest Bahamas on Thursday with high pressure building behind it. Elsewhere, a tropical wave expected to enter the southeast Bahamas by Friday evening and increased rain chances across that area. So for tomorrow, Thursday, partly sunny and a bit breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers. Friday, variable cloudiness, warm and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly across the southeast Bahamas. In the tropics, we've got a lot going on. We've got two tropical storms, Lisa and Martin. Elsewhere, we've got a broad area of low pressure expected to develop in a few days near the Greater Antilles and over the southwestern Atlantic Ocean. The system has about a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. So with Lisa, Tropical Storm Lisa is expected to become a hurricane in the next few hours. It is moving west toward the coast of Belize. As of 5 a.m., it was about 70 miles northeast of Roatan in Honduras, or about 150 miles east of Belize City. Lisa is moving toward the west near 15 miles per hour. The general motion expected to, some forward decrease in forward speed forecast during the next couple of days. Maximum sustained winds are near 15 miles per hour. It's moving toward the west near 15 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 70 miles per hour. Some strengthening is expected, and again, Lisa could become a hurricane at some point today as it approaches Belize. Tropical Storm Martin expected to become a hurricane today as well. That is 755 miles east-northeast of Bermuda. Martin moving toward the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds are near 65 miles per hour. Martin could be a hurricane by this afternoon or tonight before transitioning to a powerful extratropical system on Thursday. But again, none of these threats to the Bahamas. That is your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance company and agency network that lets you buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. Heavy traffic on Gladstone Road, which is north of Fire Trail, all the way up to John F. Kennedy Drive. That's what you're going to be seeing there in the northbound lane. Mile Butler Highway also busy for you from Fire Trail up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes. Traffic is some congestion around that roundabout heading toward it from westbound on Tonic Williams Darling Highway and eastbound on Williams Darling Highway. Further up at the six-legged roundabout, you're going to be seeing some issues from multiple directions, northbound, eastbound on JFK, and southbound on New Providence Highway as well. Still having that line of traffic on John F. Kennedy Drive westbound, just west of Lake Cunningham on the way to the roundabout with Westridge Estates. So heavy traffic there at this hour. And we've got Blue Hill Road near Carmichael, seeing some heavy traffic, and near St. Vincent Road, and north of Soldier Road on the way to Independence Drive back to both directions, west and eastbound. Pockets along Prince Charles Drive, especially near the major intersections. Soldier Road north of Robinson Road, all the way up to Bernard Road, seeing heavy traffic, and Eastern Road as well, from east of Foxhill Road up to about Johnson Road, and still that slow-going traffic on the way to Shirley Street as the work continues in that area. That's what we're seeing right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
Holding me back. I want you to hold out the palm of your hand. Why don't we leave it at that? Nothing to say, and everything gets in the way.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. In just a couple minutes, we're going to be talking with the Public Managers Union. They are having a one-day leadership conference. We're going to get the details about that in just a bit. And later, Arawak X will be talking about some of the exciting things they have going on. But just for a couple minutes, we wanted to get to the latest with the Pharmacists Association, the Pharmaceutical Association, what's going on there. The government, the headline in the NASA Guardian today saying the government won't accept any violation of the law. Their price control changes, which are in effect as of yesterday. We, as you know, if you were listening, we had the BPA on yesterday. They said they didn't want to open because they think they are still in negotiations, yet they didn't want to violate the price control. They did not want to because there are fines for every item, and that would drive them further into the risk of going out of business. So they don't want to be in violation. But some tough talk from Economic Affairs Minister Michael Alkitis. He is saying they're not going to budge on this, although they are prepared to meet with the pharmacies today. Some are expected to open today. Halkita saying yesterday that the closure was, quote, totally unexpected and without notice. That's the same thing the Pharmaceutical Association is saying about when they read about their margins having to be reduced and no warning on the price control items. So, well, I guess it's all karma. I don't know. But I'm sure. He said they're not going to budge on their position, though. Yeah. So more on what he said yesterday, because he didn't know, because we heard that on the air yesterday. They said that some of their members were already outside the office of the Prime Minister and that they were heading there right after the show. And so the NASA Guardian informed the minister that members of the BPA outside of the office of the Prime Minister and asked him if he would meet with them. Halkita said, quote, cabinet is today. We are about to walk in now. I think the best bet is for them to go to their stores, open their stores, and provide the service to the public. We are not unreasonable. We are not unique in terms of being buffeted by inflation. Consumers have taken it on the chin. The government has done its part. We believe by reducing customs duties and eliminating customs. We got to this point because we have yet to see those savings passed down to the public. This is an effort to do that. This is one tool in our toolkit. We believe that we are being reasonable. We have foregone enforcement for a couple of weeks. We believe that the right stance is to begin with to implement, but to take this issue that we are not compliant at all and we are freezing, that is not tenable and something we are not willing to accept. Okay, so you hear what the minister is saying. Of course, retailers, wholesalers are saying, well, okay, yeah, sure, you reduce customs on some things, but the prices have gone up on almost everything.
Everything.
So it's hard. It's more expensive for them to purchase these items. If you want to do it on your own, you can see that and go on to Amazon or wherever you like to shop, and the prices are going to be different from when the last time you might have looked. And to bring that in is going to be costlier, and this is what they're saying. So it's not that they are, I don't know if it's across the board, but they're not, for the most part, pocketing any customs duty savings. They just harder to find stuff and harder to bring it in at a price that people will be willing to pay.
Yeah.
But let's get your reaction really quickly. We don't have too much time on this. But to what's being said now, what should the pharmacies do? Should they open today? Should they do this and abide by the price control rules? Or should they wait to hear what the minister says? What say you on this? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Maybe you needed a pharmacy yesterday and had a very difficult day. Tell us about that. What did you experience? What are you saying? And the grocers at the same time are saying, well, we aren't making the changes. We're not going to do it. Now, of course, we asked the BP about that yesterday. The grocers say, well, we are doing it. We're going to stay open. And, of course, they said, well, they can do that. The number of items for a grocery store that's going to be impacted by what they're facing is totally different. That's almost all the medications.
Right.
And the few things they have that fall into the breadbasket category, right? So that's all they sell.
Yeah.
Whereas the grocers, they can sell and hike up the price on many other things.
Right.
But yeah, so what's your reaction? What do you think, Chester? What do you think? Do you think they should stand firm?
Stand firm. Hold firm.
That's what you're saying.
Hold firm.
Yeah? Okay. Let's read some text messages.
Everybody else go hold firm. You might as well hold firm.
You sure everybody else can?
The government go hold firm. You got to hold firm.
Oh. So I have a real, Western standoff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yikes. Yippee-ki-yay. Yeah, yippee-ki-yay. Oh, boy. This person says here, what are the big wholesalers saying about all of this? Who brings in the medication in the country? Yeah, they've been saying it. We had one on the other day. National Agencies was on a couple of weeks ago. They're saying it, too. They are shocked as well because the last time these margins were put in place, they met with the Prime Minister at the time and showed why this margin was good or not good. And they looked at their books, and so they came to an agreement on the margins.
Right.
And they were saying that was done under former Prime Minister Pindling and after consultation. But there's no consultation here, and all of a sudden you just pick a number that you feel is the best number for the margin without looking as to whether these folks will be able to stay around with that number.
And everybody's situation is different.
Right. So they said they're not unreasonable. Some said they will be willing to show their books and show why they'll go out of business within 6 months if they have to do it at that margin, or why even a couple of percentage point adjustments could be something they could live with. Just have the meeting with them and talk about it. So, yeah, we've been hearing. You can listen to that show. I'll give you the date if you want to. Go back and listen. We got a whole history lesson that day. It was an eye-opening discussion on how things work. This person says here, parents driving around with babies or toddlers looking for infant fever medication. Shame on the retailers. I'm going to boycott them.
Isn't that going to... Won't you have the same problem?
Well, I guess you could go to the supermarkets or the hospital pharmacies.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, hospital.
Doctor's Hospital says they were open and they...
You said you pluralized.
On the other one, they don't have a pharmacy? Huh?
What?
Don't they have a pharmacy?
Sure.
Okay. Could someone please remind the pharmacies that they are dealing with the lives and health of citizens? They should have stayed open while negotiations took place. They are selfish.
They might get fined because they didn't change their margins because they're still in negotiations.
This one says here, my suggestion will be that at the negotiating table with the government, that they should not accept a health plan because it eats up all the cash flow. Oh, well, that would be horrific. Horrific for the citizens who much prefer to go to them, the government directly. So, I mean, they could say that, but good God. Well, that would be one way to get people to turn on the government. If you're forced to get your drug plan medications from the hospital or the clinics only. Oh, my God. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
You know, I just was about to say that what you were saying about the drug plan. Because, like the food stores were saying that they weren't going to accept the government vouchers. You know, the person that sent the message that said that cry shame on the pharmacies because the lady's driving around looking for stuff for her baby and the others. What they're not doing is they refuse to put themselves in the shoe of these pharmacies. You understand? Because if the government cutting into their bottom line, right, then where's the money going to come from to get your medicine for the following month?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Stop looking at it just as to say, well, they trying to make a profit or they're being greedy, or that's not what it was about. And to top it off, I think what makes matters worse for me, because I work in the pharmaceutical industry, what makes matters worse for me is there was no consultation on these laws, none at all. So then you don't care about the pharmacies, and then now you're strong-arming them to open, and then you're forcing them to take a cut. Why don't you take a cut? You know, be fair with it. If you can give them the breaks on certain items, like with customs, BC going up.
Right.
They just have to go up. All these things coming from the same monies now that you're trying to cut out from them.
Yep.
I don't know what this government is thinking. I don't know. They're playing with people's livelihood. That's not fair.
Yep. Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you very much. And the other suggestion they've had is, right, take the VAT back off medications. They weren't on for all this time.
But it's interesting when you try to implement a balancing act when you don't know what kind of weight is on the other side.
Unless they have some secret information that they're not revealing to all of us. Like, you believe that these folks are pulling in some money,
millions
more than they are claiming. Well, let us all put all the cards on the table. Tell us why you came up with this, how you came up with this, and let's make it make sense.
And if you know, are you risking the opposite effect happening? Like, if some of these people close, then you got more people on unemployment, grabbing money out of the system. You know, your balancing act is failing.
One final call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to, I just tuned in, so I don't know if I've missed this conversation, but what people have to understand is this. Whether you're a wholesaler or a retail store ordering your goods, when you buy that good, you pay VAT on that good. And then you pay the VAT on the freight and the duty and the shipping.
Yep.
Then it is sold to, whether if it's a wholesaler, it's sold to the retail. They pay VAT on that. Then when the customer buys it, they pay VAT on that. The government, if you're buying from a wholesaler, receives 4 payments of VAT on one item. Now, they have decreased the VAT by 10% across the board, but they've included
2%.
all the things that were not vatable in the past. And now they've increased of operating by increasing your power bill. They have increased the minimum wage, which means a lot of these wholesalers have warehouse workers that are on minimum wage. Are they going to be able to retain all those people now that you're forcing them to sell at a particular price? It's insane. And for them to do this without consultation and understanding how a business works, you got NIV, you got staff to pay. You've got, these wholesalers have vehicles that need to be inspected and insured and serviced. it's mind-boggling what they're doing. It's dictatorship. I mean, they're forcing us to become a Cuba, where the government tells you how much bread and how much butter you can have in a week.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, to me, they are opening Pandora's box for a civil unrest, because the average person just is not able to, much less the poor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
We're near a breaking point, it feels. Thank you so much. Appreciate the call.
Yeah.
All right, some messages as we go to the break. This one here is interesting. It's funny how the government has restricted ground transportation operators from adjusting our cost despite no raises in 20 years, and they've insisted that we do not need a raise and that we must cater to the poor. Well, I guess because big-timers own pharmacy companies and Jonesers must run the ground transportation business. Well, it's seeming arbitrary to many people.
Yeah,
right?
why
here? Why not there? What's up here? What's going on there? Very, very, very odd. This person says, I think the government should let competition reign. Well, that's what they're saying, right? Many business owners saying price control is just causing problems.
Yeah.
Let folks who can charge less than others, and the consumers will decide who stays. Right? Another one here. If I lost it, what did I do with it? Oh boy. I'll get it up. Okay. This person says here, socialism is not the way to go. So far, left thinking is not a good strategy. We must encourage persons to change their mindset of working for their keeps, and education is still the key. And another one here, the PM needs to fire his office of his director of communications because there is no communication. Well, I don't know if that is the responsibility of the Office of the Prime Minister's Director of Communications. That's just, right? The ministers need to get together, economic affairs, health, everybody come together and talk to these folks and figure out what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, we got a lot more messages. I can't get to all of them. We've got to take a break. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's not the same as it was in this world. It's just us. You know it's not the same
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem. Just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment, plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations. Website at fidelitygroup.com.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Atlantic Agents and Brokers. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John.
It's Mordecai.
When one says Rust-Oleum, one thinks Bahamian paint. Bahamian Paint carries over 150 different Rust-Oleum spray products. I'm talking products like Rust-Oleum's textured finishes, you know, the leather effect, the antique look, or the hammered finish. Now we're talking about Rust-Oleum's tub and tile paint, chalkboard paint, and the dry erase board and a can paint. The inverted spray is used to mark sports fields, parking spaces, or foundations. And of course, the granddaddy of Rust-Oleum's 9100 heavy-duty anti-corrosion coating that gives metal unmatched protection against the elements. That's why when one says Rust-Oleum, one thinks of Bahamian Paint. Harold Road and Mackey Street. Right now, get 20% off all cash sales through December 24th.
I just link up with this beautiful young lady, and she say she in love with me. She say even my internet making sense. When she come over, she say my signal strong, my movies ain't glitching, and when she use her computer, everything was smooth. The only problem is, I let her meet me by my boy house that day, and he got that BTC fiber internet speed bump.
Current fiber internet bundle customers now have as much as 3 times the speed. Totally free. Link up with BTC. Link up.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Chester Robards on this Wednesday morning. Changing gears now. There's a special one-day leadership conference. Symposium is going to be held tomorrow, and the Public Managers Union is organizing this. Here to tell us all about it, very pleased to welcome back to the show, President of the PMU, F. Cassandra Cartwright-Lewis. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Hi, good morning. And how are you this morning?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Hope all's well with you.
It is. Thank you. And thank you for having us to explain this event.
All right, so you're doing this at UB, University of the Bahamas, and I suspect this is tied into their very special month of Charter Month celebrations. Is that correct? All right, so
of course, the Managers Union represents 4 of the country's tertiary and 4 of the country's prestigious institutions. One being the College of the University of Bahamas, my apologies, the National Insurance Board, Bahamas Air, and the Airport Authority. And in keeping with wanting to celebrate the university Charter Month, which is November, and of course the special day of November 10th, back in 2016, we decided to launch a one-day leadership seminar to coincide with those celebrations for the leadership, the members of the Public Managers Union. Our members are all middle managers from the various entities. And so what a great time to host an event such as to coincide with the university, our tertiary education institution, in terms of learning, training, and empowering the members of the Public Managers Union.
All right, so we're going to get to some of the topics that are going to be discussed in a bit. But there are a lot of leadership seminars, conferences happening in the country. A lot. Why do you think that is, and why is it important to talk about this?
Well, Dwight, let me just speak to you on the genesis of the Leadership Symposium. I am certain that there's no person within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas who heard the public outcry, big concern relative to service deliveries, the service delivery providers in our country. We serve our institution all within that category. While service delivery is unique, each of the entities, the challenges each of them face is similar across the divide. So our objective, one of our objectives, is to constantly be productive and active and a willing partner in the relationship by engaging and assisting in building as well as developing our members and personally so that they can be exemplary employees who add value to the growth, development, and improvement of their organizations as they better serve while feeling fulfilled in their service delivery. Now, we looked at that because oftentimes leadership, we all say the rise and fall of any institution fall at the feet of leadership. But in our case, many of our managers are leaders. And so it is incumbent upon us as the people, as the organization that represent those individuals, that we play our part in ensuring that they get the skill sets, the training. Even though it's a one-day session, we are continuously including whatever information that we can to develop our members. So that they could be good leaders in their own way. A leader doesn't have to be, we always talk about leadership in every instances and every fair. And so when we look at the definition of leadership, Oxford defines it as the action of leading a group of people or an organization, while Tony Robbins defines it as one who influences, inspires, and helps others become their best selves, building their skills and achieving. That is what Public Managers Union, that particular definition is the definition that we carry and we encourage our members to be.
All right, so you talked about the challenges that we see. People talk about this all the time, the quality of leaders. Have you noticed changes, though? Are we improving? Are we static? What are we seeing?
Well, I would say that we're static. But, we have to be intentional in that, a lot of persons who are in leadership positions are either appointed or to that level. But what we find is that a lot of people do not get the necessary training in order to be an effective leader. We see every day. Let me give you an example. I had an experience in planning this leadership seminar. I had an experience with an individual. And, I said to the individual at the end of it that every platform that I get, my experience with that individual will be an experience of others to discourage them from that type of behavior. One of the problems that we have as well is that we have expectations of persons, but we do not actually sit with them and show what it is that they are supposed to be with those how to achieve those expectations. And so a seminar like this, we are hoping that the beginning, we would set the groundwork and persons would use this as a springboard to further improve and master the skill sets that they have to become better leaders. Service delivery is is one of the major concerns in this country. But the problem is, it starts from the top. Because we put people in positions and we say to them, listen, you have this job to perform. Do we provide them with the right resources? Do we ensure that they have the right, do we ensure all of the necessary resources are in place for persons to become good and successful leaders?
All right. So I think you touched on.
Your question.
Well, I guess it's a process, right? It's a long road. You talked on some of the issues, but let's get into some of the specific topics that are going to be covered with the one-day leadership symposium.
Okay. Some of the topics that we're going to be covering would be mind mastering, change your script. In other words, what can you do to improve yourself to ensure that you're able to be a good leader? We talk about in leadership. I have the awesome task of, as the president of the union, dealing with the leadership from 4 different entities, and each one of those leaders have different styles. And so to be able to communicate with all of them successfully, I have to be able to have good communication skill sets in order to communicate with those individuals. We're talking about the importance of building personal brands. If I'm confident in what I'm doing or I'm supposed to be doing, then I would be a better leader, a better employee, a better supervisor, a better manager. Fit to lead. Of course, you have to be able to bring people together, to be able to follow and lead. We always have this thing that I'm in charge, so it has to go this way. But no, you may have somebody in your group who is stronger in a certain area that you may have to follow behind that individual. Okay? Finances is one of the things that most people know the unions for, is negotiating salaries, benefits, and the likes. But it's important that we teach our members the importance of financial prudence, to be in a financial position, so that the concerns, your financial burdens, don't overshadow the effectiveness of you being a good leader. And some of us, right, when we have concerns financially, that has a tendency to have great stress, and we become overwhelmed. And so that too can kind of bear us down in terms of being an effective leader.
No.
Legacy leadership. Pardon?
I was going to say we need to take a break for news, and when we come back, we're going to hear the rest of this and how people can be a part of the symposium. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. We're talking with F. Cassandra Cartwright-Lewis about the Public Managers Union Leadership Symposium set for tomorrow. More details on this, and we're going to talk with Arawak X. A lot more to come in Morning Blend Business after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Stop! Hey, let's go! Hey, hey, hey. I want to touch your arm with you tonight, baby. And I want to love you up and make you feel brand new. I wanna hit you with that rake and scrape, and it's playing no time to waste. Give me that right away. It's time, girl, please don't be late.
This is
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. We've got a two-parter for you this morning. We continue our conversation with the Public Managers Union and Cassandra Cartwright-Lewis on the Leadership Symposium that's happening tomorrow. And then later, we're going to be talking with Arawak X. They have a lot of exciting things coming on, so a lot to get to on this Wednesday morning. So we continue our conversation with Cassandra Lewis. Okay, so you were talking about legacy, and I can imagine that a lot of people who don't know when it's their time to move on. That seems to be a big issue here in this country. Let's talk about that. Is she there? Did we lose her? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. That's
Sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dwight, one of the main challenges that people are faced with is preparation for, and so a lot of the concerns are when it's time for a person to be separated from an institution, particularly those persons who would have been in a particular institution for any length of time. Many times they're not prepared financially. They're not prepared in a way where retirement is great. I took an early retirement, and let me tell you, I'm having a time of my life. This is a new era for me, and don't be afraid of moving on. You get to do the things that you would not have been able to do if you're committed to a 9-to-5 job or any job. You could actually discover new habits, new things, period. You really also learn yourself in a whole lot of ways that you didn't have the time to realize that there's some things that you like and there's some things that you don't like. Mm-hmm. And so moving on is a good thing. Don't be afraid. Step boldly into a new change, a new challenge.
Mm-hmm. Now, what if your employer is the one who won't let you go and keeps bringing you back and unretiring you?
The problem is, again, succession planning is something that is very, very. It seems to be a difficult thing for companies to do, particularly quasi and government institutions. We do not have a proper succession planning, and so you find that there's a new talk now about institutional knowledge being void. Well, institutional knowledge is void because we didn't properly plan. We have to include succession planning into these institutions. so that when the time comes, people are able to move on. Also, it allows for persons to elevate. And so we have to be intentional with the succession planning nationally, and there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
There's no getting around it.
Do you find people who are unwilling to train because they're like, now if I train this one, they're going to replace me and I'll be out on the street?
Those, but there are some of those. But generally speaking, the lack of succession planning in an institution, I don't know too many institutions. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think of one that has a successful succession planning program. But that is something that's wanting at all levels.
Yeah.
That is something that is actually creating quite a problem in the country. We're seeing people being brought back at 70, 80. Yes, they have something to offer, but if they would have prepared persons while they were in the positions that they were in, we wouldn't have the challenges that we have today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Along those lines, you talk about job satisfaction and employee actualization.
Right.
Yeah, people just seem to be passing the time at their jobs, even in their careers these days.
It's right back right there to leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership. Leadership, I mean, in this country, in the Bahamas, leadership is something that we need to, like succession planning, to really take a look at. Dwight, I mean, no offense to anyone, but all of the sessions and trainings and seminars that I would have attended, and you look at the you look at the portfolio of many of the persons, many of the presenters, you see where they are intentional in terms of upskilling, training, and with us, many of us, we're just in a position and told to lead. We have a lot of failures. And nobody has to go looking for them. But we should be grooming grooming leadership in this country and in a lot of the institutions. And that is one of the reasons why we're having such great failures in many of the institutions today. Lack of leadership, lack of succession planning, lack of proper skill sets. So it's our goal as the Public Managers Union to ensure that the members that we represent, we play our part in ensuring that they are upskilled, they are trained, and they get the necessary skills and tools needed to be good leaders.
Yeah. We're running out of time. I just want to ask you, though, I mean, we hear people all the time, especially younger people, who are ridiculing people who stick to a job for many years and like, oh, no, I'm going to keep moving. But if you stay there for 10, 20, 30 years, what are you? You're a loser, basically. Is that hurting us as well? The lack of loyalty, and is that contributing to the fact that people don't want to train people because you won't stick around, you'll just go and get better and then leave us, and so why should I waste all my energy on you?
Well, I don't think that is the attitude that we should have. I think employee retention should be a major factor in any institution. If you don't, Dwight, I'm sure you're not going to stay with the Guardian if they're not going to look out for you. Unlike everybody else, we all want what's best for both yourself and the place that you're working. And if somebody is, we always expect a lot, but prepared to give a little. And that is a problem. However, the structure has to be structure the organization so that we have the employees that we need and not overwhelm the institutions, so that we properly compensate people for the services that we want them to provide. And that is also a challenge in this country. We have expectations of employees, but we're not prepared to compensate those employees.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I don't know anyone who is going to just sit and just accept anything when in fact something better is around the corner.
Yeah.
And so the mindset that why do I have to train people? No. Your job is to train them and ensure that they are able to carry out your company's mandate. Okay? Let's stop just hiring people for the sake of hiring that does not have the necessary skill set, because those are also a burden on your administration costs.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, and I think there's also a health and wellness component as part of this as well. So how do people be a part of this tomorrow? What do they need to do to attend?
Well, Dwight, we actually have the session is being held at the University of Bahamas. We've had an oversubscription.
Oh.
And we have had initially it was geared only for the managers of the 4 entities. Persons heard about it, they saw the topics and expressed an interest, so we allowed for some other persons to be a part of the session. The presenters are excellent. They know their craft. We have Nathaniel Sweeting, we have Quessa Jane, we have Ethan Quant, we have Akira Strawn, Dino Cartwright, Anvil Davis, Simone Bowe, and we have a good program scheduled for tomorrow, and persons from other institutions had expressed an interest, and so we had opened to those individuals already, and it's oversubscribed, but we're going to be at University of the Bahamas in the Performing Arts Center. We start at 9. It's from 9 to 2 tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So if we are interested in seeing or hearing more, since it's oversubscribed and you can't make it out there, will there be recordings? Will this be put up on social media?
We will have it recorded. We did not initially, because of the effort to it, we did not subscribe to a Zoom link because we wanted it's highly interactive because, we wanted a face-to-face interaction. And so we didn't do a Zoom link, but we are going to record the sessions. And so we can make them available at a later date.
Okay.
But it's going to be an exciting time. The topics are very timely, very topical, very, very necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I would have said to one of the executives at one of the institutions, this is a seminar that you would have gotten for at no cost to your institution. I suggest that you have as many people attend. To no cost to you, the union afraid the entire cost. It is going to be a session that is going to be invigorating. It's going to be informative. It's going to be enlightening, and it's going to be fun. At the same time, at the end of the day, we will come out better leaders in those institutions that the Public Managers Union represents. We are excited.
Yes, I can tell. Sounds like it. Sounds like it's going to be a great time. Cassandra Cartwright-Lewis, President of the Public Managers Union, thank you so much for being here with us. Always a pleasure talking with you. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Dwight. You've been a friendly person to the Public Managers Union. We appreciate, and we hope to see you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Our pleasure, definitely. Thanks again. We're going to take a break.
Not a problem. Okay, pleasant day.
You
Good
too.
morning.
You too.
Okay.
Stay tuned, folks. We're going to be talking with Arawak X right after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Left, right, left, right, left, right. Double time, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626, or email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center at accessaccelerator.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
The Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center is here to help small businesses throughout the entire Bahamas. To better serve you, we've made it easier to contact us. Call 461-7232, WhatsApp 359-0626, or 359-2394. Email helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com, or submit a ticket when you visit our help center.org. The Access Accelerator, empowering small business.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the Three Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sundays 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On Abaco at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Left, right, left, right. Double time, left, right, 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 left. Follow the leader, 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 follow the leader. Come on, now jump to the left, jump to the right. Jump to the
Welcome back to Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Chester Robards. And we're changing gears. Arawak X has always some exciting things going on, and they've got a few exciting initiatives, new ones to tell us about this morning. Back with us, we are very pleased to have with us co-founder and CTO, Chief Technical Officer, DRC Ramming Jr. Good morning, sir. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on. I love these kind of conversations.
Yeah, okay, let's, for folks who aren't familiar, I don't know how they couldn't be, but for the few who aren't, remind people what Arawak X is all about and what you've been doing, and then we'll talk about the new initiatives.
So Arawak X is a licensed securities exchange in the Bahamas, and what that basically means is on one side, we find investors, and on the other side, there's investments. And those investments happen to be companies, they happen to be different types of issuers. And so the is bringing those people together, the people with extra money and the people who need money together over a regulated platform. There's a lot of technology involved. What we're doing is unique, and in that we're doing a lot of this over the internet. So it's a 24/7 market, which is, basically what I went to school for. And so I'm really happy to be back home to be able to add value in this way. So that's basically it.
Yeah, and the people have gotten on board with it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There was a lot of myths about Bahamians and investing that was floating around before we did Arawak X. Bahamians don't invest. They only do waste their money or go to trip to Miami or whatever. A lot of condescending, paternalistic things. But what we've proven is that no, people want to be a part of the financial system. They want to own shares in companies. They want to, have means of planning out their financial lives. I think people have said, and people say this all the time, we have about 7,000 people registered with the platform.
Wow.
Which, so I'm having a lot of different types of conversations with a lot of different stakeholders. And one of the overarching themes is that people want to be proactive about their financial lives. And they've just been missing the tools and the financial education to make those decisions. But they want to be a part.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us some more about the successes you've had so far.
So, we're new. We've only been operating since August of last year. So we're a company.
Has it only been since August?
Well, that's when we started taking client funds.
Why does it feel like you've been around?
It feels like
it does. Well,
you're an institution now. You've been around for a long time.
It's because I digress. It's because we understand there's a lot of education needed for financial products. So as we were doing the licensing process, we were also educating the market because we knew it was going to take 18 months to educate people on a new product. Right. We find it's about 18 months, which is a long time to be talking to people about something to get it going, which means the longer you wait, the longer you start to see the results. So what we did is we launched in August. We launched with a bang with 3 companies. 1 was successful, 2 were not. And obviously, unless I'm not a baseball fan, but unless you're a baseball fan, batting 1 out of 3 is not a good thing for a market, right? It needs to be more consistent. It should be more like 9 out of 10, in my opinion. So we stopped. We said, okay, why did we not? What was with these companies? And we talked to people, a lot of people, thousands of people. And they said, we like the platform, we like how you're able to deliver the service, but we want ongoing companies. We want companies that have a track record so that when I'm making my investment decision, I can go in, see the product, I can see the place. Yeah. And so we had to change all of our processes. We also changed our technology to make it a little bit more easier to do these things. And then we launched again with 3 new companies starting in June. Chef Tropical Gyro was like the perfect example, right? Is a guy you could go in, you could taste his food, you could see what he's doing, and so 1,200 of his customers said, "Yes, I want to be a part of this." And so it's a beautiful thing because I know his story. He's worked in the industry for many years. It's what is supposed to happen, right? You have an idea. You'll be able to work that idea, you can sell that idea, and then, of course, you can raise money and get to the next level. Yeah. Same thing with Foot Care RX. Dr. Johnson well-known doctor, been there for 30 years. New concept, is able to sell it to his people. And so that's basically what the platform is about. Right now we have Nassau Gas. We also have a new issuer that's about to launch at the end of this month. So be excited for that.
Can't tell us anything about that
I can't
yet.
say
No.
anything else, but they've done all the regulatory stuff. So we expect to see that come in. And so I will be back to tell you about more about that later.
All right. So with the regrouping, after looking at what the market was telling you, did you have to turn some people away coming on board?
Yeah, so we not turn away. So we understand. So we're from small business families, right? All of the executives grew up in business families, and entrepreneurship is a journey. Oftentimes, a multi-generational journey. I will be the first to admit I stand on many people's shoulders. Most 32-year-olds don't have the opportunity that I have. I'm living off of great relationships with my father and my grandfather. That's the reality. But that's how business is, because business is ultimately about relationships.
Right.
And so I say all that to say that what was your?
I was going to say, did you have to tell some people, well, we
Yes.
realize that this is not going to work necessarily for you?
So we don't burn bridges. Okay. We don't. We say you're not ready. These are the things you need to go work on to get ready. Because ultimately, we don't want to be the judge of ideas. The market is the judge of ideas.
Yeah.
The customers are the judge of ideas. But the structure, that what makes you investable, we do know. And there are times you have great businessmen who are unstructured, and which means they'll make terrible investments. And so it's that the role of a marketplace is to provide structure that is reasonable. I mean, you can't get rid of all risks, but you can get rid of reasonable risks, like certain corporate governance, certain internal controls, and you're able to put that framework. And that's where the regulations and the regulatory side of the business comes in, is they put a nice framework that makes it investable. And then that person presents themselves, or that company presents themselves to the crowd. So we have a list of people that are working on getting in shape. But as you know, moving anything in a business is not overnight, because business people, like all leaders, work through other people. And so, when you're working through other people, it takes time to motivate people. It takes time to get the right people in place. It takes time to do all of these things.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So
Okay.
we expect to see the company side snowball. In fact, next year, we have my chief of equities, Mr. Winston Roll, has informed me we have 8 lined up, 3 in January, 3 in February, and 2 in March, and possibly even more. So we're trying to. I'm an engineer. That's my love, right? Is building things. So I'm trying to get more efficient as time goes on. So yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have a busy 2023.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Every iteration better than the last.
That's excellent. So you've got some other exciting things going on. 2 new products.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so we've been working with a specific issuer to do a fixed income product. That's kind of like if you think of it in terms of that's a breadbasket item. It's plain vanilla, is like your rice. You eat it at every meal, but if the meal is only rice, you're wanting of more, right? So the really exciting one, I think, is the REITs, because Bahamians get land. I mean, that's a very simple. I mean, everybody. I mean, the common investing wisdom here was save some money, buy a duplex, rent out. You live in one, rent one out, and then eventually you can buy your own house, and you keep doing duplexes because that rental income keeps coming in, and and it's a great investment. It's a great story. I know a lot of families that have pulled themselves up by that method. Well, what a REIT does is it allows you to participate in larger scale rentals. So think. You could put almost anything that is income producing in a REIT. You put small hotels in REITs. You can put shopping centers, of course. That's the traditional. You can put even things like data centers. So there's a lot of. It's a tool that can be used to empower the kind of entrepreneur to find the financing so he can build this and create this value. Will see a return.
And for our less savvy business people out there, that's a real estate investment trust. Okay.
Yeah. They can be trusts. They traditionally, originally, it comes from. It's actually a hole in the U.S. tax. It's an exemption in U.S. tax law that defines the structure of it. So it has a really well-defined structure. So people, when they hear REIT, they know it means that 90% of income is going back to shareholders. So the company can't hold on to the money. It means certain shareholder structure. It has a really well-defined structure.
Right.
And what that means is that what's great about that is that you don't have to think about whether or not the structure is going to hold it together. You can only think, is this management team going to be able to do this?
Right.
And do I like the concept of how this thing makes money? And so that's what marketplaces are about. Defined, structured products that make it easier for investors to make investing decisions because they get used to the structure. And then they say, okay, I understand it. I know an apple, grade A apple is a grade A apple. So every time I can go back and I can buy a red one or a green. It's like when you walk into a grocery store, you know that the food is safe. It's not going to kill you. If you knew if some of the food was going to kill you, it would take you a lot longer to shop. Same thing with a marketplace.
Okay, so break it down. Explain to us exactly. Is that what you're going to ask?
No, go ahead.
We'll get
But
to that
you
one.
might be able to tie it in.
Yeah. Okay. How does it work exactly, or how does this REIT work?
Okay, so a developer would come to Arawak X. They say they want to raise money. $10 million to do this development. Okay, so Arawak X, through its network of local as well as international investors, would be able to come together and pull those investors in. It gets financed. The crowd is able to participate, in that as well. So it kind of blends local and international finance together to get this project off the ground. So boom, now this project is up, it's running, it's starting to make revenue, and then now, and this is something we're still working out with. We have to define it, but it'll be either monthly or quarterly dividends, and that has to be written into the rules.
Right.
So that's a conversation because ultimately this guy has to operate this business too. So you don't want to be overburdensome on his operating things. But anyway, that's the general framework.
But it'll always be something income generating.
Income generating,
Right.
yeah. So it's designed as a necessary. That's even if they structure them as companies, that's why they're called trusts, because you're holding this asset on behalf of the beneficiaries, which are the shareholders.
Now, you mentioned that a lot of the people who come to the Arawak X site come and talk to you about certain things that they want to see.
That's it.
Was this one of those things somebody asked for?
This is something that a lot of people have been asking for.
Okay.
The reality of a lot of Bahamians is a lot of Bahamians are land wealthy and cash poor. That's the reality. When you're looking at some people, especially people from the Family Islands who left their land in the Family Islands to come to Nassau to find work, they have acres and acres and acres of land. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm from one of those Nassau families, so by the time I came around, they had sold all of their land. So anyway, when I see my ancestors on the other side, I'm gonna tell them about how that was a poor decision. But for people in the Family Islands, they have tons and tons. Like we were just talking to a group out of Cat Island trying to do a boutique hotel. It's a beautiful thing, but they need the structure in order to get the investment. Because see, what people don't understand about investing is investing moves towards structure. Money moves towards structure, and those structures happen to be companies, or trusts, but you need structure in order for and structure that's well understood. It has the right protections in place. Right. Otherwise, money doesn't move. Money only moves towards transparency and structure. It doesn't move towards, let's all get together and say I have a good idea. I like your idea, but what happens when this guy decides to dip his hand into the kitty?
Right.
You have to have those kind of checks and balances in place.
And it's coming, as banks are saying, they're less likely to give you money if you are unless you're buying
Building something new,
building
yeah.
something. Yeah, if you are buying something new, building something
Building
new, you're
something
less
new,
likely to
yeah.
get the money. So this
Yeah.
is going to be great for a lot of people.
I think so.
You made it sound as if most of the money wouldn't be coming from that regular crowdfunding crowd.
It's a different type of investor. So
Right.
all money is not the same.
Yeah.
Like so we all have. Let's just think of our own personal. We got to pay the rent, right? So that comes out first. You gotta pay certain essentials. You know your telephone. You got to eat, and then you have extra money to do things. Now you have leisure money. Then you have investing money. You have some money that is put aside that needs to be super safe because maybe you're saving up for a college fund, so that's super safe money. Then you have a little bit riskier money that you want to take a reasonable chance, and then when those needs are met, you generally have that money that says, I can't say it on the radio, but the sentiment is, whatever. Let me see what happens, right? Yeah. So companies is towards the riskier end. REITs are towards the middle end of, you're going to see a building, it's going to go up, you're going to see. And then you have your fixed income stuff is towards the safest things you can do with your money. I'm 32 years old. I don't necessarily need to be super safe at this period of my life, but there are people that are 65 years old that do need to be super safe.
Yeah.
So it's different depending on different people. All the marketplace is our job is to bring as many different types of investments to the market as possible, so people can make their own conch salad of investing.
All right, so forgive me because I don't know. But so how does this work? Is it one?
No.
Or are you going to you're just a facilitator for REITs?
We are a facilitator for other people.
Okay.
So we're not a fund.
Mhm.
So a fund would pool everybody's money and then make decisions on
Right.
behalf. All we do is we say, this guy wants to do a REIT, this guy wants to do a REIT,
Okay.
this guy wants to do a REIT. We'll make sure it's structured properly.
Right.
And then investors can come in and they can join and they can exit whenever they want. So that's
Okay.
the exchange, that's the secondary market part.
Understood.
That's
So,
spinning up.
so the platform, how does the platform work with the new products? So with a REIT, you're saying there's one type of money that we're going to look for this REIT, but there's also going to be an opportunity for people to maybe come on the platform and invest themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And they'll still do it through the platform.
That's right. So it'll behave exactly the same as crowdfunding. It's just a different type of finance. So the mechanics, we built the platform to be securities agnostic. So we can plug any security in. Obviously, we have to go through the regulatory process. Right. We have to work with our regulators. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas responsibility is for the minority investor and investor protections. So they always have to make sure that whatever market is set up ticks all of those boxes because that's their mandate. And so we as market operators, knowing this is their mandate, make sure we never propose anything that would go against their mandate. After a while, you learn what dad and mom say is not cool, and you stop asking for that. So that's kind of we're in that same role.
Yeah.
So
you have one lineup already. When's the first one going to launch? What do we?
We're still working through the regulatory stuff. So that's the reality. There is the regulations are necessary. I can't get around that. Without regulations, we cannot operate safe and efficient and transparent and fair markets. And so it's really, really important that we work hand in hand with them, and we do. And so it's I really like the direction we're going in terms of what the Securities Commission of the Bahamas is going.
So what are we looking at here? We're only going to deal with folks who want a marina and golf club and
not only
community or my little triplex. Can I come to you for that? Can I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make it so that it's a tool that is available and financially inclusive. One of our values is financial inclusive to anyone. Now, obviously, that's going to mean big projects. It's going to be small projects. I believe everybody should be able to bring things to the market as long as they're willing to follow the rules and to do proper business. And why not? Why not? I would like to see more 10-plex, maybe not a triplex, but maybe like a 10-plex, because the reality is we have housing shortage. So So we need more people building these things. We need more people doing these things.
Are you going to treat those almost the same as you treat the companies that come in now? Or are you going to kind of, I know you said you don't want to decide who gets funded and who doesn't, but with a REIT, are you going to decide about this project? Well, oh, this is a triplex. I don't think we need another one.
Oh, no. So that's not our methodology. Our methodology is to set standards,
right.
And as long as you can meet the standards.
Right.
Now we've been slower in releasing companies because we have to build. It's one thing to have the product on the shelves, but if you have no customers,
right.
So we have to simultaneously build out the investors and the issuers at the same time.
Right.
So as more companies come, more investors come. As more investors come, more companies come, and then it becomes this positive cycle. And so, but that takes time. Like I say, it takes about 18 months to build these things out properly. And people who don't understand this think you could just snap your fingers, say a couple magic words, and it just magically happens. But even the development of the tech is not simple. It's simple to the user because that's it's supposed to be, but there's quite a bit of complex engineering going on in the background. So it's fun. I love this stuff.
Yeah. All right. So if you are interested in investing in some of this, what should you be doing right now, especially if you're not registered?
Well, you better get registered on ArrowACX. An account is free to sign up. There's no monthly fees. We make our money off of success fees. So when a raise is successful, the issuer pays us. So it's free to sign up, and we can do that because the technology does a lot of the major work. Takes 7 minutes, so we drastically improved our onboarding process. That's one of the things that people screamed about us in the first in August. So we're listening. We're not perfect. We are improving every day. We're trying to be as transparent as possible, and we're working towards greater transparency and greater efficiency and velocity. So sign up at arrowacx.com, click New Investor, and it takes you 7 minutes. You just need your NIB card and another ID, and then compliance will tick you up.
All right, so I know you say you're working on the back end of it, but do you think you might launch one this year, or will that likely be next year?
It's likely going to be next year. The reality is that there's still quite a bit of regulatory shaken, and it's back and forth. It's a conversation. So, people often view the regulator as in opposition to them. The regulator is there to empower the industry and work with the industry. And so, our relationship with our regulators is one, and all stakeholders, we all want the same things. And the reality is for the country to be successful, you need government, which is part of the regulators, government, financial services, and industry to all work. Because at the end of the day, when industry is successful and the consumers' lives are better, and they pay taxes, which means the government can then do more of these wonderful things that we all kind of want. So we really need all three groups of people working together. And so I really encourage our partners in these different areas. I view you as partners. I don't view you as antagonistic. My grandfather worked for the civil service for 40 years. So I'm pro the civil service and government, and I understand your role. But it's important that you also understand mine. As an engineer, my job is to take ideas and turn them into reality. Yeah. That's what engineers do. And it's a very misunderstood discipline. So I say all that to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For the savings product, can you give any details on
No, I cannot.
As yet?
I've probably said too much.
But that'll likely launch next year as well.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
And would there be a limit to the amount of people who would be able to come into that kind of thing?
No. In fact, the reality is when you move towards the super safe products, I think personally that we should remove some of the paternalistic type of rules associated with buying really safe assets, because at the end of the day, it's safe. Yeah. So I get some of the restrictions on risky stuff early stage equities. I do, from an investor protection mind. Remember, that's how they're thinking. But when you move into the super safe, you don't really need so many protections. And this is, like I said, this is an ongoing conversation. that we are always having with regulators and stakeholders.
All right. So again, we can get more information.
arawakx.com. Takes 7 minutes to sign up, and you can access it. We're always in communication. I love when people stop me and tell me about the good things I'm doing and tell me about the ways I can improve. It's great. It's how I make the product better. As one of the architects of the product, the technology architects, feedback can't get better, right? And so I encourage people to stop me, say things, tell me when things are not working. Oftentimes I work through other people, and sometimes my other people don't tell me what's really going on. So it's really nice to hear directly from customers.
Excellent. DRC Ramming, always some great information when you come. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again when you have new stuff to launch, which will be soon, apparently.
Soon.
But
soon on the crowdfunding side. I'll be back in a couple weeks.
Okay, great stuff. DRC Ramming Jr. with us from Arawak X. We're going to take a break and then be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Every single day, I'll be working for the bumper. It's rich. I'm a treasury.
1, 2, I come here to wake it up, wake it up. Hey, wake it up. I come here to wake it up, wake it up. Wake it up. I come here to wake it up, wake it up. Wake it up. I come here to wake it up, wake it up.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds. Earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL. Growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
If you were exposed to COVID-19, have symptoms, or traveled recently, get tested so that you can have peace of mind about your status. Just visit one of our convenient locations on New Providence at the University of the Bahamas or Golden Gates Plaza, weekdays 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Eleuthera at the 3 Island Dock, Mondays through Thursdays 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Exuma at the Regatta Park, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. On at Maxwell Food Store, Mondays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The COVID-19 test results will be ready in 15 minutes, and the tests are free.
This message is brought to you by WHO and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Yes, man. Must be. Ay, ay, ay. May I have your attention now? I've come to party and show you how. It's time to set your spirit free. I want everybody to follow me.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, throwing its support behind retail pharmacies and tourism stakeholders that have recently spoken out against the new price control measures that have been put in place and increase in minimum wage coming January 1st and substantial BPL rate hikes. Chamber Chairperson Crystal Rutherford Ferguson, these pressures are particularly challenging given the businesses are still dealing with the inflationary effect of the COVID pandemic. You can read more about her comments in today's Guardian Business section. The Central Bank of the Bahamas and the government are working toward the introduction of a savings bond scheme targeting retail depositors to encourage them to invest more in the available medium and long-term domestic bonds of the government. Contracted domestic credit trends, which Central Bank Governor John Rawls said is expected to only mildly improve over the near term. The utilities regulator, IRCA, is seeking to clearly define the term major outage in regard to the supply of electricity in the Bahamas. The regulator releasing a consultation document this week seeking feedback from the sector, noting that significant disruptions to the electric grid may put lives, the economy, and the environment in danger The regulator is saying in the document that ERCA recognizes that technological limitations mean that disruptions in the supply of electricity can occur from time to time, but it's responsibility of the licensed supplier of electricity to consumers in the country to minimize both the frequency and duration of these outages and to seek to continuously improve the reliability of the electric grid. And BISX, the Bahamas International Securities Exchange, announcing the addition of Leno International Investment Fund Limited, Class B shares, to the roster of funds listed on the exchange, offering more investment choices outside the Bahamian capital market. The Open-End Investment Fund is a sub-fund of the Leno International Investment Fund. An initial minimum investment of $5,000 is being offered with $1,000 increments. Leno COO Andre Dwight said the fund meets the demand for Bahamian clients wanting more choices in the international markets. Your market watch on the BISX, your market movers from Tuesday. APD Limited moving 100 shares, closing unchanged at $39.95. Focall moving 2,500, down 2 cents, closing at $3.98. Consolidated Water down 7 cents, closing at $3.67. And Emira Incorporated down 19 cents, closing at $9.07. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,584.51, down 0.89. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.